When working with fractions, sometimes it's also beneficial to know how to find the least common multiple. Multiples are basically the multiplication table of a given number. So for example, one of our given numbers here is 15. The multiples of 15 would simply be the products that we get, the answers that we get, by multiplying 15 by any counting number. For the purposes of what we're doing, we're going to start with the counting number of 1, and we're going to increase. So we would do 15 times 1, 15 times 2, 15 times 3. And what you do is you write the product here next to the number, and that is the multiple. So for example, the multiples of 15 are 15 times 1 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. Now, if a student doesn't know that 15 times 2 is 30, there are two ways that they can figure out what 15 times 2 is equal to, what the product would be. One way is to simply write the multiplication problem down on a piece of scratch paper and do the multiplication. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3. The answer is 30. The product is 30. So 15 times 2, the multiple is 30. If the student is uncomfortable even with this, something that students learn in class is that multiplication is also repeated addition. They are the same thing. And so another way to find out what 15 times 2 is to simply write 15 down 2 times and add those together. So you have 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1, 1, 2, 3. The answer is 30. So if the students can't figure it out in their head what 15 times 2 is, they have two strategies that they can use to figure out the answer. Okay, so we continue to progress through the counting numbers. So we're going to do, we have 15 times 1 is 15, 15 times 2 is 30, next is 15 times 3. So the students can write it down. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. So this is 45. The next number would be 15 times 4. After you do the math, you find out that it's 60. And then we're going to go up to 5. 15 times 5 is 75. What I generally tell the students in class is to go ahead and do 1 through 5, put the products down because those are the multiples, and then start with your next number. So we've gone through 15 with the multiples of 15. Remember, the multiples are simply the answer to the multiplication problem. 15 times 1, 15 times 2, 15 times 3, and on and on. Okay, so let's talk about the number 18. 18 times 1 is 18. We are writing down the products of 18 times the counting numbers. That's what multiples are. So then our next number would be 18 times 2. And the answer is 36. 18 times 3, 54. 18 times 4, 72. 18 times 5, 90. So we've gone up until 18 times 5. So we've gone up to the given number times 5 for both numbers. And as we look at the list of multiples for each number, we can see that so far they do not have a multiple in common. So we aren't able to find the least common multiple. When that happens, that means that we're going to have to progress further through the counting numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back up to 15. We stopped at 15 times 5, so we now need to do 15 times 6. The answer is 90, and immediately I can see that now the two numbers have a multiple in common. The least number, the smallest number that 15 and 18 have in common in their list of multiples is 90, so we circle that. There are no other smaller numbers that these two numbers, 15 and 18, have in common. So the least common multiple for 15 and 18 is 90.